Y'all enjoying the night? I got 3 people saying that. You change the microphone. So, are y'all enjoying the night? Okay, that's better. That's better. My name is Robin Richard. I am so excited that you are here. So first, let's just give yourselves a hand. I like when they do that. So give Jesus a hand. Yeah. Hey, Jesus, let's give the Holy Ghost a hand. The Lord a hand. God a hand. You know, River West, you go up and down mine. You never done that? You gonna do it on Sunday. Watch. The Lord told me to say this. The Lord told me to say this. But we are so excited on behalf of my husband, Lord Richard, and we are so excited that you honored beyond belief that Courtney M. Nero, I don't know what the M stands for, magnificent, marvelous. Did not mess with me, something, I don't know. Nero uh, honored us with having this book launched here. It's a whole, it's, yeah, yeah. People say yes, okay. And so Pensacola is near and dear to him, and you're going to meet Courtney in just a second. But it's near and dear to him because I've been messing with Reverend Lonnie David Wesley. It's near and dear to him because of his fantastic wife, Dr. Sabrina Wesley Nero. Y'all give her in her own right, she is a linguistics fantastic professor in amazing person. Get another for a hand, yeah. Homegrown, right here. And then her daughter, Naomi, is here. Y'all say hi to Naomi. It's her mother, and Asa, where's Asa? Asa, right here in my face. Asa is here, newlywed. Y'all put up for Asa, newlywed. And it's wonderful life, Rachel. So we're so excited to have the family here and the extended family. Uh, So we're so excited to have you here. Just a couple of quick safety things. We won't need any of this, but does anyone know the number to 911? We will not need it, but just in case, when we have exit, the one you came in, and the one here, the fire extinguisher here, and the one won't need. It's always good to know. And then to the foyer, greeted by our great volunteer, Bobby Kennedy. Bob. And so the rest of back there. So the Kakula Institute in Swahili, Kakula means grow. And our idea is to discover, share, celebrate, and grow ideas in art, history, science, and technology. All about the African American. So Lloyd and I do AI, um, virtual reality, computer programming is all about telling stories through the African American experience, predominantly right here, story. So we're so excited that Courtney and I connected because of Dr. Williams, Williams shared mutual friends. So I'm so excited that they make the connection to us so we can be a part of this. The other thing is that I think you probably will say, but if you've been a part of the book, can you just break? I don't know. I saw Joe. Where did Joe go? Joe, okay, Joe, I'm not. Raise your hand. Joe Harriel is a part of the book, and I think Mrs. Jones is going to be either I'll come early or late. So Jean Jones, who we talked to on the phone here. And I also want to point out, we were talking about Booker T. Washington with some of texting people and go, who is Herman Jr. Cook and that. So if I know you're late to Booker T. Washington, I say that. So I appreciate Lawrence Young, who was the band director at Booker T. Washington, is now the band's director for the whole state of Florida. What's your title? Okay, but you were the whole, okay, but he was the band director following the father at Booker T. Washington, which so the legacy continues. So we're so excited to have you. So I won't belabor. I'm so excited to introduce you to Courtney Nero, who is he does some spy things during the day, but his passion and his love is scientist family and education and sharing. So about uh, Junior Cook, I had no idea who Junior Cook was, not in my field in terms of history. Even though Junior Cook is on our blues marker and right here in Belmont and Village, I didn't know the deep dive until we connected that opportunity to find out. So I'm really excited, having read the book. I want to know. I'm really excited. So would you please welcome? Oh wait. I'm sorry. Did I say that already? No, I didn't say that. Okay, so let me tell you. Yes, by one, like Rick Ronald David West did. But what's coming up? Christmas, Kwanzaa, Three Kings Day. So buy it as a gift for somebody too. So buy one for yourself, buy a gift. Two, buy one for yourself, buy two for gifts. Okay, all right. He's got it. He will autograph you. So would y'all please welcome Courtney Nero. Out for after. Okay.
Greetings and good evening. Thank you all. Thank you all so much for coming. I'm trying to get through this now. Let me throw out my caveats. This is my first book. This is my first book launch. So thank you so much for your indulgence. This has been a long time coming. I just really appreciate you all so much for coming out. So this book, Half Born Will Travel, the life and music of Herman Junior Cook. This research journey started for me in late 2021. Out of curiosity, I was searching the internet for information on the life of saxophonist Junior Cook. I'm a saxophonist myself, and count Junior Cook is one of my influences on saxophone. And I quickly became rather frustrated at how little information I could find on Junior Cook online. Many biographies that start with Junior Cook's birth in 1934, and then it skips way ahead to 1958, which is when Junior Cook began playing briefly with jazz trumpet icon Dizzy Gillespie, and then he moved on to work in the quintet of Sparse Silver. But it left me wondering, who was Junior Cook? How did Junior Cook get started, right? What was the span and the arc of his life? And I really found the contrast, with other saxophonists. It's very easy to look up John Coltrane, for example, and you can find out where John Coltrane was born. He was born in North Carolina. You can find out where or when John Coltrane's father died, when John Coltrane's grandfather died, when John Coltrane's mother decided to move him from North Carolina to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where John Coltrane went to school, when John Coltrane went into the Navy, right? His first recording in the Navy. So that was a real noted contrast for me in that the extant biographies online only talked about Junior Cook's birth and then skipped ahead to 1958. And I wondered, especially with my family roots, our family roots in Pensacola, Florida, what were the musical influences that really worked on Junior Cook and made him the musician that he was? So, every one of us, in this room, we all have a history and we all have a story to tell. And as I started digging and researching and finding people who had met Junior Cook and played with him, I resolved to tell Junior Cook's story because his story was worth telling. So 3 years of cold calls and interviews resulted in this book. And I'm really indebted to the musicians, to those who knew Junior Cook and played with Junior Cook, those who researched Junior Cook before I did, because they all played a role in contributing to this book. And when I say, cold calls and cold emails, it was really just that. I was calling people on the phone or emailing them, and it was literally, you don't know me, but, dot, dot, dot. And almost to a person, most people were very generous with their time and very generous with their memories of Junior Cook and his music. A couple people didn't call me back, but that's okay. And I was able to introduce myself, introduce the project, and they were, like I said, very generous, and they were very eager to help me tell the story of Herman Junior Cook. It's funny as I think about, in the jazz world, most people know him as Junior Cook, but I made a point in the book of using his first name, using his given name, because as I late in the research effort, I was able to be in contact with some members of Cook's family, his living relatives, and they knew him. They didn't know him as Junior Cook. They knew him as Herman. They knew him as Uncle Herman. And I resolved, to the best that I could, to tell Cook's whole life, and that included, his Pensacola roots, included the people who only knew him as Uncle Herman, and then also those in the jazz world who knew him as Junior Cook. I really look forward to reading the book, because one of the highlights for me was to be able to dig even further into Pensacola, Florida, as a cultural hub, as an entertainment hub. Some of us know about the cultural and entertainment activities that took place on the block. We know about the so-called Chitlin Circuit, which was a group of clubs and venues and cities where that catered to African American audiences. These were clubs where African Americans could go to, because in time before integration, there were several clubs that Black audiences couldn't go to, several clubs that even Black performers couldn't go to. Junior Cook played a role in the Chitlin Circuit as well through his work with some R&B groups, for example, before he started playing with Horace Silver. Another one of the highlights of the book I wanted to mention was that in 2024, I was able to get a research fellowship to travel to Rutgers University in Newark, New Jersey. And at Rutgers, they had an Institute of Jazz Studies. So I received a grant that funded my travel and lodging to spend about a week at the Institute of Jazz Studies to research Junior Cook. And that was really eye-opening as well. There's so many resources up there, both on Junior Cook and just on the jazz scene in New York City at that time. So that was really valuable for the book. And during that trip, I was able to Uber about 45 minutes over to East Hanover, New Jersey, to the Wrestling Memorial Park, which is where Junior Cook is buried. I was able to find his gravesite, and at that point, toward the end of the research journey, it was really sort of fitting. It was significant, momentous for me that I was able to find his final resting place, and there is a picture of his gravesite and grave marker from that cemetery in the book. I'd also like to mention that, one of someone called the low lights, but sort of the low points of the book. As I mentioned, um, it was my goal and my effort to cover Junior Cook's entire life, his whole life. And part of his life, to be quite frank, was the toll that the life of a musician took on him in New York City. Um, a musician's life can be a very hard life. It doesn't have to be, but it can be a very hard life. And part of Junior Cook's story was a story of substance abuse that contributed to his death at a very young age. He died at the age of 57 in New York City. Um, but just being able to look at, New York City at the time, and even we're thinking 1970s, 1980s, there was still sort of on paper, right, superficially, institutions were integrated, but there was still very much differences in the lives of Black musicians and white musicians, the resources that were available, the gigs that were available, the venues that were available to them. And what I also found in the book was, especially during the 1980s, there was a very vibrant jam session scene in New York City. So musicians will have, formal gigs. They'll go to a club, they'll play for an audience for a certain amount of money. Then maybe after all of the gigs are over, they'll go to another club, they'll just play for themselves. These are called jam sessions. So musicians will come in and they'll take turns on the stage, and they use that to hone their craft, to learn new concepts. They also use that to listen to one another and be able to advance themselves as musicians. And Junior Cook took a very significant role in the jam session scene in New York City in the 1980s, where he was, so this was 92, he passed at age 57, so probably in his late 40s or so. He was playing these jam sessions, and he was influencing a whole new generation of jazz musicians that were coming up. Young guys who were coming to New York City, maybe they were in school at the New York schools, and then going to these jam sessions afterwards. And in that, I really found a whole different level of his legacy and his impact on the generation of musicians, teaching them, sort of what to do and what not to do. And this teaching, this sort of apprenticeship, was not it wasn't direct teaching. It wasn't, hey, do this or don't do that. They were really learning from his example as a musician on the stage, seeing what he did, seeing what he didn't do, how he played, how he approached different tunes. And this really helped to, like I said, influence a whole generation of young jazz musicians. I'm going to take this time I'm going to play a little music. I'm a saxophonist myself, and I don't have it lightly that there are a lot of authors out there who write great books, but they can't play, the music that they're talking about. Now, Junior Cook was not known to compose music. He once said that he composed every day when he was improvising on the bandstand. But you can't go to any online catalog or online resource and find a set of songs that were written by Junior Cook. So what I'll do this evening is that I will pull from the pen of Horace Silver. Horace Silver was a piano player, and Junior Cook and trumpeter Blue Mitchell played with the Horace Silver Quintet for 6 years. They were, Horace Silver played piano, he had a bass player and drummer. Then he moved through a series of saxophone and trumpet players that were the front line of his group. And he would change them out periodically. But Junior Cook and Blue Mitchell stayed in his group for 6 years. That was the longest tenure of any saxophone trumpet duo that's playing in front of Horace Silver. So if you're familiar with Horace Silverton, he wrote a series of compositions named after fictional characters. So one of his compositions is called Sanctimonious Sam. Another one is called Senior Blues. Another one describes a song about a mythical character of dubious distinction. The name of that tune is Filthy McNasty. He also wrote about, he has a tune called Funky Bunky, Sister Fading, which is very well known of his tunes. But the one I'm going to choose first tonight, I'm going to introduce the song and present to others a tune by Horace Silver, which Junior Cook played on by the name of Juicy Lucy. Jill just a minute. Thank you. It helps to, it really helps to take the edge off, you know, when, we were in the COVID days, those were some bad days. But the point is, there were times, this is off subject of the book, there were times when I really found myself, you know, down mentally, emotionally, with the weight of, you know, the COVID lockdown. A lot of things that I couldn't do at that time. But being able to pick up the horn and being able to improvise, play some music, really had a positive impact, you know, on my well-being. And just thank God for music. Thank God for being able to relay. Thank God for music for myself, and also thank God for being able to relay music and play music to impact other people's lives. Okay. You know, at this point, if I'd like to open up the room. If you all have any questions about the book, or if you have any questions for me about the research journey, happy to take any of those at this time. So, sir. Most have you thought that maybe it discovered this, but a wow moment, sort of eye-opening for me. There were a couple. One was that was learning that, so before Junior Cook played with Horace Silver, which was really his, the breakout moment in his career, uh, he was playing with an R&B group called the Delta, and they came to play a gig in Washington, D.C. at the Howard Theater. This was April of 1957. And Horace Silver was playing a gig. It was either, I'm not sure, it's either in Baltimore or in Wildwood, New Jersey. And he happened to come down to Washington, D.C. to hear another jazz master, Lou Donaldson, alto saxophone, who was playing in Washington, D.C. And so it turned out that Horace Silver and Junior Cook went to see Lou Donaldson at the DC Jazz Club. And that was probably the first time that they met. So the fact that that happened in Washington, D.C., another one, much more broadly, is that one of the major reasons for the book, is that, and I say this in the introduction, Junior Cook, you mentioned his name to a different jazz musician. You often hear, they would describe him as underrated or, unsung hero, that sort of thing. He was one of the musicians, one of the many jazz masters who did not get the critical acclaim, did not really see himself in lights as much. And what was really eye-opening for me was just seeing through Junior Cook's life how much it takes to build and maintain a career as a jazz musician. Knowing the music and knowing your instrument is just the very beginning of that process. There are administrative tasks. You have to find gigs, you have to keep gigs, you have to put bands together, you have to place cats, you have to rehearse, right? You have to, there's a certain, even more so right now, marketing element, online presence for musicians these days. So it's really eye-opening for me, not being, I played music since third grade, but I haven't made my career out of it, right? But really eye-opening for me just how much extra, beyond the music. You talk about the music industry. The music is only half of it. Music is half the industry. So there's so much that has to go into making a successful career. I put in quotes because success is going to be different for everyone. But really, getting an eye into Junior Cook's life in that regard through the interviews. So I think Junior needed things to be a part of others. So that was just right. I didn't run into a lot about that. I thought some about, Junior Cook participating in or playing, venues and gigs in the Chitlin circuit, more so, before the Horace Silver days. And that was more his, the R&B groups that he played with. The Deltones, there was a vocalist, Gloria Bell, that he played with. But I think there was some sort of distinction, in those venues that maybe the Chitlin circuit, in a sense, it leaned a little more toward the blues, toward the B.B. Kings, the Albert Collins, and maybe the R&B side. And then once you got into, the Horace Silvers and the Trains and Miles Davis's, they were playing a different set of venues. Yeah, yeah. maybe more so, and I think a lot more so on the coast. You know, not exclusively. Miles notably had he had at least a yearly residency at a famous club in Chicago. I think it was a showcase. Uh, so there was, I'm saying that today, there was Midwest in there as well. But it seemed like for that genre, you know, the straight ahead jazz, they seemed to concentrate more so, yeah, and in Europe as well. A lot of musicians went to Europe for touring. A lot of musicians went to Europe and stayed there because they found more receptive audience. They found less racism. One of my very favorite movies, uh, you can look it up when you get home, is Around Midnight from 1987, 1988. Dexter Gordon, real life jazz saxophone master, played the lead role in Around Midnight. And that story was loosely based on the life of pianist Bud Powell, who went to Europe and stayed there. He lived in Paris and stayed there for a long time. Josephine Baker, yes, yes indeed, yes indeed. Oh wow, yeah, yeah. Mhm. So
That's a significant jazz fan that is not a musician. I've read numerous biographies on artists, and they're typically written towards those who are musical.
right.
Did you find it challenging as a musician? Fan.
That's a great question. And I did find it, found it a bit of a challenge because I really wanted to write to both of those audiences. You know, I wanted both audiences to really find something for themselves in the book. And maybe in most instances, you know, each audience could reach over, you know, to the place where they maybe where they were not as familiar. My son Asa took piano lessons from another jazz master in the DC area by the name of Wade Beach, piano player. And Wade used to have these biographies sitting on his table. And when we'd go for Asa's lesson, I'd end up picking up one of these books and, you know, flipping through it. That really engendered a love of jazz biographies for me personally. But for Half One Will Travel, I really tried to like I said, to thread that needle, to talk and to explain Junior Cook's life both to those who love music, you know, may not be musicians, but there are also definitely points in the book where we're talking about, you know, chordal harmonies, or we're talking about tritone substitution. You know, they're throwing something like that. It's going to be, you know, a footnote at the bottom, you know, something like that to bring along those people who may not, you know, be familiar. There are points. There's one point in the book as well. I was able to interview one of my modern day favorite saxophone players, a guy by the name of Ralph Moore, lives in California. And he was on this jam session scene with Junior Cook back in the 80s. And he would explain something we call guide tone lines, you know, or leading tone lines, or voicing, where when you go through a jazz tune, you know, chord by chord, you can sort of draw a basic melody through all the chord changes, and that can be sort of your foundation to make your improvisation. And he wrote out for me, took a tune, jazz tune called High Fly, and he was able to write out for me the guide tone lines through the chord changes for High Fly. I included it in the book. So in that sense, I was trying to, like I said, write to the musician, but also write to the lover of jazz biographies, the people who, you know, they may not know flat five from a sharp 11, but they know that they like what they hear. You know what I mean? Yeah. He left this area, he finished Washington High School in 1952. and he went to New York directly after that. He spent a couple of years in New York, then he came back to Pensacola in the mid-1950s, I think 55 to 57. He spent 3 semesters at Washington Junior College. And I found a book in talking with the archives at Pensacola State College. One of the courses that he took 2 courses in music education. So it's possible he was thinking about, going into a career as a music educator, like maybe teaching in the high school. But it turned out 1957 or so, he decided to go back to New York again. And after that, he pretty much stayed up there. Not that I found, but it is possible because during his time, after high school and even during high school, he was taught uh, by the well-known Raymond Shepard in high school. And Ray Shep was very plugged into the gig scene and the jazz scene. And Junior was able to play in at least one of the groups with Ray Shep for a time. So it's possible he could have played at 5 or 6.
Thank you.
No.
Unknown at that time came to this area and they used to meet at Mr. A's house down there in 10 yard.
Mhm.
My goddaughter lives in that house.
Okay.
I would like to know who those persons were that themselves at this area.
Right.
This area is very historic, but I grew up somewhat in it.
Yes, indeed. And that's another great point. But both, back in the old days, people used to record and release albums, right? And on the back of the album cover, you have several paragraphs of liner notes. Sometimes the liner notes were written by the producer. Sometimes the liner notes were written by the artist themselves. And in looking at least one of Junior Cook's albums, liner notes were written by producer Brian Case. And he characterized, Pensacola. Well, point is, he said that Junior Cook learned the craft of jazz from records because in Brian Case's perception, he said that Pensacola was the boondocks as far as jazz was concerned. But what I was able to find in researching for the book was just, through the Chitlin circuit and through uh, other venues and circuits, Pensacola was not nearly as backwater, if you want to put it, as he, had alleged. Because one, you had the likes of Tina Turner, you had the likes of B.B. King, Duke Ellington coming through Pensacola. Then that, Pensacola was, what are we got? I don't know mileage specifically, but anyways, we're sitting between New Orleans and Tallahassee, right? So a lot of cats coming through here, and it wasn't as, remote and isolated as some of the folks might think. And then you throw on top of that with the naval base, influence of the naval base here. You have the naval base, you have people coming to work at the naval base from all across the country. They're bringing their experience with them, bringing their culture with them, they're bringing their backgrounds with them, and that's all feeding into Pensacola, Florida. Peggy Scott? No, I don't. Okay. Okay. Yes, indeed. Okay, I'll check her out. Yes.
Here's using the book that but you started
Yes, I did. And then on Junior Cook's influences, very first part of the book, talks all about what I can find of his Pensacola beginnings, talks about the wealth of talent that existed here in Pensacola. John Bowler, um, Butsy Douglas, Fess Andrews, all of these guys. And then beyond that, Junior Cook was really influenced by Wardell Gray, who was a contemporary of Dexter Gordon, who was from the West Coast. And he really modeled himself at a certain early point after another saxophone master, Hank Mobley, who is really interesting as well in the book, where you look at Hank Mobley was a saxophonist who played with Horace Silver before Junior Cook. And when you listen to some of Cook's solos and listen to some of Mobley's solos, there's some, commonalities there. And it's not to say that, Cook was like copying off of Mobley, but this is just the significance of that influence, And in jazz, we often will find musicians that influence us. We hear somebody, I hear, Stanley Turrentine. I say, man, I want to play like him. So then I start transcribing Turrentine solos, listening to Stanley Turrentine, try to play like he played. But even if I play his solo, it's still, Michael Bouillard used to say, it's still, when I play it, it has my fingerprint on it, I can't play like John Coltrane, but John Coltrane could never play like me, you know what I mean? Because I'm Quentin Nero, so the sum total of my experience is going to come out of my horn. And so even though he had influences like Wardell Gray, Mobley, when he played the horn, you heard Junior Cook, Sir. Yeah, I think the Chitlin circuit was more tuned to blues and probably to R&B as well. So I think from that angle, that might have been an entry point for Junior getting on the blues market. So uh, not, I didn't find specifically for Pensacola, but I did know that, of course, there's a wealth of talent from the state of Florida more broadly that he certainly came across. As a matter of fact, his uh, partner in musical crime in front of the Horace Silver Quintet was trumpeter Blue Mitchell, who was from Miami, Florida. So they had that Florida thing going, in front of Horace Silver's quintet for 6 years. But you think about that, saxophonist Bill Pierce, uh, organist Doug Karn came out of Florida, of course, Cannonball Matt Adderley came out of Florida. So whole wealth of talent that he was influenced by in Pensacola itself, but then also, more broadly, the state of Florida, a lot of folks that he crossed paths with. Yeah, yeah, man, yes. My personal, you know, uh, first off, I really appreciate and treasure the legacy of music that came through my family early on. My mother played some piano when she was younger. My father played clarinet and saxophone in high school. Um, but the Nero family has a rich legacy of uh, folks who made their careers, you know, in music. So I think about that, even if it didn't weigh on me, you know, explicitly, but opera singer Grace Brumbry, Ben Brumbry, who played drums on the Mississippi River. We have even present day Javier Nero, who's a cousin of ours who plays in the Army Blues Jazz Band up in the DC area. Braxton Cook, great saxophonist who's on the West Coast now. But you know, for me early on, I played, you know, a little bit drums coming up in school. Real cut point came for me in seventh grade, junior high school. I went to junior high school, and my first day in gym class, we went to gym. Elementary school is called PE, it's called physical education. You go to the auditorium, you run around, and you go straight back. We went to junior high school, and it wasn't PE, it was gym class. So you go work yourself out, work out your, you know, muscular salvation in the gym. And then you got to go to this shower room. First day, I went to the shower room. This is room, and the shower heads on the wall, and no curtains anyway. What's going on here? Right? So the only way out of gym class was to go to instrumental music class. So, and the rest is history, because I started playing saxophone in seventh grade, junior high school. Elizabeth Crawford was my very first instrumental music teacher in junior high. My high school band director was a guy named Everett Brooks, who I started maybe the first 3 or 4 years just playing concert band music. And then in high school, I saw that movie Around Midnight, and that really sparked an interest in jazz. And I started playing in a jazz ensemble in high school and continued in jazz ensembles in college. Took a couple of classes at Howard University. I went to Georgetown University in DC for undergrad, where I met my lovely wife. And then I played, took a couple of classes at Howard University. I pledged, found New Alpha Symphonia Music Fraternity, Zeta Iota chapter at Howard University as well. And just continued building bands, and trying to learn the craft, and still trying to learn. It's really a life journey, and you know that's really it's not a curse, it's a blessing, because it's always something new to learn. I'm going to take a break right now, and I'm going to run through several thank yous. And again, I just appreciate you all for being here, for supporting this effort, supporting the book, supporting Pensacola on Herman Junior Cook. I'm gonna run down this list. First off, first looking on to God, I want to thank God for resources, for this opportunity to learn, right? To dig into the life and the music of Junior Cook, and to be able to share his story with others. Also, I want to just express my gratitude and my love for my family, Sabrina, Leslie Nero, my wife. Let's give her a hand. Cherry Brown, my dream. And I am what I am. Thank God, 28 years and counting, and I am who I am because of her. I thank God for Naomi, my oldest, in the back, raise your hand. And inside and bring them right here in the front. Raise your hand. Love you all. And Naomi and Asa and Reagan are also there carrying forth the legacy of music that we have in our family, both play instruments and sing. And again, just sharing it for the next generation and impacting others with the gift of music. Where am I going from here? Also want to thank my Pensacola family. All my Pensacola family, raise your hand in the room. Thank you so much. I love you all. And I want to just take some time to give honor and respect for Dr. Herb Williams, who recently passed, and his wife Sherry Williams. I was at the Bell's house a couple of years ago. They came over to visit, and I was telling them about this project. It was very early stage, and they were, of course, very supportive. You should contact Robin Rashad, and that also helped jumpstart this research journey. So I'm very grateful to the Williams. And let me tell you just a minute about Miss Robin Rashad. So we finally connected. We were talking on the phone, and I was like, "How you doing, Miss Rashad?" "Yes, Miss Rashad. Thank you so much, Miss Rashad." And she said, you can call me Robin, or you can call me Your Highness, and nobody calls me Your Highness. So I had to take that up. So Her Highness Robin Rashad, thank you again for all the support, encouragement, for hosting this Institute. When I called her and, we talked on the phone a bit, and then after about a week or so, she sent me this email that was just Ancestry.com on steroids. And it truly helped jumpstart this research journey for me. So much indebted to you for your support and your encouragement, helping get this started and to come to this wonderful. Also, all of those who contributed to the book, as I mentioned, a whole range of musicians, friends, and music producers who were very generous with their time. I want to mention Joe Herring, who's in the room. Raise your hand. Thank you, sir. Thank you for all your time and your information. Gene Jones, I don't know if you've been able to make it. Eric Cook, who is a great nephew of Junior Cook, who I was able to speak with at one point very early on in the research journey. Also, just want to check if there are, I don't know if there are any members, any living relatives of Gene Cook who are in the room right now. Hey, how are you? Thank you so much for coming. Also, of course, want to thank University of North Texas Press. I had this manuscript. This was before I went to Rutgers University. Had it probably about 70% done, and I took a chance and sent them the manuscript. They were very interested in the story. UNT Press has a series called the Lives of These Musicians series. So this biography of Junior Cook really worked right into that series, and they took it in, with the final product. Again, I want to thank all of you for coming today, for your presence, for your interest in the book, your interest in Junior Cook, who's the son of Pensacola, Florida. I want to recognize if there are any city officials in the room. I also want to give a shout out to Sarah Fugarino, who's raised her hand. So Sarah, years ago, I can't remember the exact year, but she and some of her classmates worked on a graduate school project, right, for the public history program at University of West Florida. And their project was focused on Pensacola-born musicians. So that project I was able to find as well, and that was very early encouragement, very early resource for me, and building off of that into Let's see. Also, I want to shout out to Crystal Bell Rivera. Thank you so much for coming. She is the interim director of the West Florida Public Library. And, a couple of years ago, I came down and visited Pensacola, was able to visit Pensacola Library. If you don't know, now you know that they have a jazz room within Pensacola Library. It's a room that is dedicated to resources, books, and other media on the jazz theme. So that was a great resource for me as well. Thank you so much for coming. And she shared with me this evening that West Florida Public Libraries has acquired copies of Pat Ford Will Travel and Place in all the area branch library branches. So very excited. This is all somewhat around. I would like to encourage you all, please, to keep in touch. There is a sign-in sheet. When you came in, there are also cards with, around the room with QR codes for my websites. One website is CourtneyNeroMusic.com. Second website is Junior Cook Jazz Tenor .org. This is a website that I established a little over a year ago. It's dedicated, the website exclusively is dedicated to the life and research of Junior Cook. You'll find blog posts on the website. You'll find links to other resources. There are two on YouTube. There are two interviews with Junior Cook, one from 1985, one from 1988, which were a great resource for me as well. Just, really unique opportunity to hear Junior Cook, literally in his own words, he was being interviewed by a DJ from the Minneapolis area. If you're interested in the book, please check out Junior Cook, jazz.org. There are also solo transcriptions. Musicians, if you're interested in his solo, they're listed on the book. Let's see. I am going to take a break now, and I'm going to play my beat selection. Junior Cook loved ballads on jazz tunes, that are played at slower tempos. So I'd like to play for you as we head out, another tune by Horace Silver. This is called Peace. Peace by Horace Silver. Thank you so much.
In that, my I'm looking at it for get an autograph, but great autograph.
I felt one for a friend. Thank you again. Thanks so much. And, God bless you. Thank you all for coming. And we'd like to invite Ms. Bell Rivera up at this time, and we will find a pin for the, oh, she bought one. That's what my mom was saying. That's why I surround myself with smart people. But thank you so much. Please. Okay.
Actually, we had taught this as well. Not only will we be adding our jazz lecture, but we'll be adding this jazz as part of our.
All right, where the cookies?
You take it back? Leave it up here. Anybody try to take it? Come on, y'all, let's give Courtney a big old hand. Thank y'all. I met some folks from Tallahassee, Renee from Texas, Chicago. Oh, she's not gonna say nothing. Chicago, she doesn't say nothing. There you go. They came all the way here just to see you. That's what we're gonna think with that story. We're gonna think with that story. We do want you to, how much is the book? 20. Oh, that's a discount. Lawrence, yeah. Lawrence was willing to pay like $99.99. Since you're giving a discount, $25, make a great gift. And we especially want to thank Vernon Watson with WBQP TV. He's been live streaming this. So Dixon, who owns Black Cafe and Bookstore and Real Women Radio. Derek Fish. For being here, especially. So meet everybody. There's plenty of food left. Any questions we can answer? Yes, please.
So what are you gonna write about next?
That's a good question. I have other ideas in mind for other biographies, but I'm also very interested not only in jazz biography, but in jazz fiction, using jazz as an environment to tell life stories. So I started working on that, short stories that are involved with that are connected some way to jazz, and also writing some lyrics to jazz songs. In the jazz video, there's a whole range of music where individuals have taken, say, a saxophonist will play, say, James Moody, for example. He played a solo on saxophone on the song "I'm in the Mood for Love." Then another person, vocalist by the name of Kim Pleasure, came around. He took the note, the melody of James Moody's solo. He put words to it. So if you're familiar with the song Moody's Mood for Love, there I go, there I go, there I go, pretty baby, you are touch my control. Yeah, I don't know lyrics. But the point is, in that realm, we're writing short stories, jazz fiction stories. I'm also working on lyrics for some Horace Silver. So keep watching. Watch this space. All right, thank you all so much. Thank you for coming. So,